Hey there, Teenage Baltimore! Don't change that channel because it's time for the 51st episode of The Inspiration Show with Nikki Blonsky, brought to you by The Inspiration Show. Do I have your permission to post this episode of The Inspiration Show on social media?
1,000,000%.
Thank you. So, you are an incredible singer, actress, and dancer. When did you discover that that was a passion?
I started singing really young. It was like the age of 3. My parents just couldn't stop me singing. Like I just wouldn't be quiet. There would be a song playing. I remember the first song that I ever learned was Stop in the Name of Love by Diana Ross and the Supremes, which is like way before your time.
Love that.
Um, Yeah, it's a classic. And I remember just it was always playing on the radio in the car. And that was the first song at the age of 3 that I remember like singing and had a whole dance routine down to. So I always loved to sing. And then at the age of 8, I remember telling my mom I wanted to take vocal lessons. And that's when I started. And I actually started with an opera coach, and we started classically training for a while. And then when I turned 12, 13, voice started to change a little bit. I went over to the pop side and more musical theater side rather than just the opera. And that opened up a whole new world to me. And dancing, however, never came easy to me. Dancing is something still that I battle. I
You're incredible.
I sometimes look back at Hairspray. I'm like, I don't know how that happened, but I do know how it happened. I had an incredible choreographer, Zach Woodley, on the set of Hairspray, who spent every day with me. And this man just was so patient, and he taught me every single move. And but I was never really a dancer before Hairspray, and a lot of people don't know that. So that was something new that I definitely had to learn and master pretty quickly.
Wow, you were incredible. It was amazing.
Thank you.
So, what inspired you to really become a performer, and who has been an inspiration of yours throughout your career?
I've had a lot of people that inspire me, whether it be people in the entertainment industry and people outside, just people who I find inspiring. I find my mentor extremely inspiring, Dr. Pamela Levy. She has been with me since high school. She's taught me, we did Les Mis and Carmen and Sweeney Todd together. And this woman taught me the score note by note, word by word, all by ear, because I can't read sheet music. Um, so I mean, I look at her and I get so much inspiration from her. She graduated Juilliard School of Music, teaches at the Manhattan School of Music in her spare time, and
Wow.
she's just incredible. So I look up to her so much. Of course, my mom and my grandmother. My grandmother's passed, and she was somebody who I always just idolized. She was the wisest person I've ever known, and so I take her wisdom with me in my career. And my mom's amazing, and so she's always been an inspirational person to me. She always encouraged me to go for it, go for the role, audition, do what I want. And you never know unless you try. That's what my mom's biggest saying was, and I'm glad that she instilled that in me. And then women in the business that inspire me, Angela Lansbury is always number one, Julie Andrews, Liza Minnelli, and then of course the great late Patsy Cline and Cass Elliot. Those are my two all-time favorite singers, Cass and Patsy. But yeah, so I tend to I love an icon.
Yeah,
Cher, you know, I love them. So
it's amazing.
these are the women that have really like inspired me.
I love how there are so many people that have inspired you and really helped shape you into the amazing person that you are today. It's incredible.
Thank you. And what's really cool is they've all inspired different, like they've all sparked different interests in me. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
Angela Lansbury is so different from like her career, and her work is so vastly different from, say, like one of my other acting idols, Angelina Jolie. But yet they both spark so much inspiration and so much, you know, just ideas and creativity. And they just through their work have inspired me and, showed me that there's so many different ways to approach a role.
Yeah, and it's incredible how like one actor can play so many different roles, but like those roles are completely different. So when you can take a little bit of inspiration from each character and then the actor as a person themselves, it's very fascinating.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yes, so can you share with us what your first Broadway and or theater experience was as an audience member?
Yes, I'll never forget. My first Broadway show that I went to see was Oklahoma. It was Oklahoma on Broadway. My neighbor took me, I believe it was for my 14th birthday. And like, that was the first Broadway show I had ever seen. And from the minute it started, I was like, oh, that's magic. They're singing, they're dancing, they're having fun. Like, I want to do that. I can do that. And so from then on, I was just so intrigued by musicals, and I had to know more and more about them. And of course, then I started, studying theater and got into some local theater groups, and then got into the school theater groups. And that's where I really found my way. But yeah, musicals, once I found, after that show of Oklahoma and then seeing Hairspray on Broadway, I was like, I'm sold.
Yeah, and we're going to get into Hairspray in a minute, but I just want to say you said that when you saw Oklahoma, it really was magic to you. And that's the word that I would use to really describe musicals, because it's magic. They're doing so many different things at once. And when it all comes together, it's such a masterpiece.
It really is. It's this incredible moving machine. When you think about it, there's so many different people and everybody has a different job, but everybody has to be in sync with each other. And it's a masterpiece. It really is. At the end of the day, when you can have a clean run of a show and everything goes amazing, there's no greater feeling in the world.
It really is. And it's also not just the actors and the people that you see on stage. It's also the orchestra, and then you have your stage managers and the directors. So
absolutely,
without all those people, it would never really come together.
Absolutely. Without the stage hands and the crew, it would not happen. So
yes,
we are very thankful for them.
Always. Can you share with us what your first experience was when you saw Hairspray and what was going through your mind at the time?
So it was a gift for my 16th birthday. My neighbor who had taken me to see Oklahoma said, well, there's this new Broadway show out. It's called Hairspray. I want to take you for your birthday. And I said, okay. And my mom and I and her went, and this was my 15th birthday, I believe. And from the minute the curtains opened and I heard, oh, that was it. It was like I saw my life flashing before my eyes. Like I was like, what is happening? It was like I had been there before. Like it felt so familiar and so like this was a part of my life somehow, but I didn't know. You know what I mean?
100%.
What?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I just remember just being totally encapsulated in it, and just by intermission, I was absolutely head over heels in love. And I was like, I have to do this. I have to. So I ended up auditioning for the Broadway musical. I was an avid buyer of Backstage magazine. So this was before they had the Backstage app, kids.
Yeah.
I would go to the train station every Thursday and pick up my Backstage newspaper magazine, and I'd circle all the auditions. And when I was 16, there was one for Hairspray the musical on Broadway. I went through 3 rounds of auditions, 3 callbacks. They said, you're great, but you're just too young. And I was devastated. I mean, I was beyond devastated, but my grandmother always had a saying, what's meant to be is meant to be. And if something's meant for you, it will be. Unfortunately, she passed away that year. But on my 17th birthday, I went on the website because when I want something, I'm pretty persistent.
Determined.
Determined. So I went on the site again, and I was like, well, technically I'm a year older, so maybe they'll hire me now. So I went on the site and it said, we're casting the movie. And I was like, oh. And I was like, wait, what are the ages? And so it said, scroll down for more info. And I'm scrolling, and it said ages 17 to 24, and it was my 17th birthday, and I was like, we're in. I sent in a tape. It said, don't send in any tapes. I sent in a tape. I had to just do it. I don't know. It was just something in me that just was, it was like Tracy was just bursting, trying to get out. And I went through 6 months of open calls and auditions, and that took me from New York to Baltimore to LA and back. And it was a whirlwind, amazing experience. And yeah, that was my Hairspray journey.
And it was your screen debut. It's incredible.
It was, yeah. I was just telling somebody, it was my first job other than babysitting in Cold Stone.
Wow. And how did you find out you received the role?
They told me at Cold Stone. They said, they called me up and they said, we would love to do it behind the scenes with each of the 4 final girls. And you're one of them. So for you, we'd like to come to Cold Stone and film you in your natural habitat. And I said, okay. And that was actually a little bit of a fib. They weren't going to anybody else's hometown. They were just coming to Cold Stone, and the cameras were not they were for behind the scenes, but they were actually ET cameras. And they captured it live. They sat me down. They put a laptop in front of me, and the director said, Adam Shankman popped up, and he said, hi, honey, it's me, Adam. He said, I think you should go make yourself a big ice cream cone because you're going to be playing Tracy Turnblad. And from that moment on, it was like I left my body kind of blacked out. It was just, I was like, what? I fell off my chair crying and screaming. And the next day was my senior prom. And then I had a week to pack up, and then I left for rehearsals, and then 6 months of shooting.
Wow, that's incredible. Can you take us through what your rehearsals were like?
Yes, the rehearsals were intense, especially coming from a non-dancer. So I trained myself. I was there before the rest of the cast came up for 2 months. And I was with my choreographer, Zach Woodley, and then the other choreographers would come in and help out. But I would work with him 8 hours a day at least. We would just dance. We would go in a room. I don't even think there was AC in it. We had like a fan and a window, and he would play the music, and we would just go over it and every move and every step. And he taught me how to move my body and make sure everything was stretched, and so I wouldn't hurt myself. And there was so much more that went into it than I even realized. But then when you compare it to singing, you have to warm up your voice, so it makes sense. But it was an intense process. I mean, it was so intense that I was dancing so much. My mom, she would come every day to set to have lunch and hang out, and she would have to bring me an extra change of clothes because she could wring out my clothes from the sweat from the dancing. But it was so much fun. And I look back now and I'm like, wow, we were moving in that movie. So I'm glad I have one piece in time where I was a decent dancer.
Do you ever look back at it and watch it and be like, that was amazing? I never thought I could do that.
It's so funny. I don't really watch it a ton. But when I do, there are certain moments where I'm like, this is just wild. This is just interesting and weird. But yeah, the one thing I would say, I was confident in singing. I was confident that I could pull off acting. But the dancing, I did surprise myself. And out of all of when the award seasons came, all of that and nominations, they all meant so much to me. But one of them nominated me and gave me an award solely for my dancing.
Wow.
And that to me was like, I met my goal. Like I learned how to do something that I never thought I could do. And now I got an award for it. And I never thought that was possible.
That's incredible. Can you share with us what your favorite part and most challenging part about playing Tracy was?
Yes, my favorite part about playing Tracy, oh gosh, everything really. My favorite, I loved the process of getting into Tracy every day. I would start in the hair trailer, get my hair roll in the
Yep.
pink curls. Then I'd go over to makeup, get makeup done, go back to hair, get the wig on. Then I'd go get my cute little outfit on. And I loved just showing up, being prepared for the day, shooting our scenes. I loved, I loved watching the filming of scenes, even if I wasn't in it, just because I find film so fascinating and creating film and television. And so I loved learning all of the lingo and turnarounds and all this stuff. And so and working with the incredible people that I got to work with. Tracy wouldn't be the amazing bright light that she is without the amazing pack of people around her, without Edna and Wilbur and Motormouth and Seaweed and Penny and Link. And so, so there's these amazing people that all come together that really, are behind Tracy. And I think that was so special because those people were truly behind me and they wanted to see me succeed as well. And so we all wanted to see each other succeed. The hardest part about playing Tracy was leaving at the end when we had to wrap, because we were a family. We ate lunch together every single day for 8 months. We hung out, we went everywhere together, and then all of a sudden it was over. And it was like you made all of your best friends at summer camp and now you have to say goodbye. And you never know when you're going to see them again. So that was the hardest part for me, was ending it and having to say, okay, I played Tracy. It's in the can. It's on film now forever. Now we go on and we play other things. And that's been a little challenging, not going to lie, because when you play a role like Tracy that you love so much, it's like, you want to love every single role as much. And I really, truly have. I've been very blessed and I'm thankful for the roles that I've played.
It's amazing. And you can see all that love on screen as well.
Thank you.
So can you share with us your favorite scene, song, and memory from Hairspray?
My favorite scene, one of them, I'm not going to lie, is Welcome to the 60s, me and John in the matching dresses. There's just something about it. We're just out there living our best lives, dancing. That and You Can't Stop the Beat was incredible because literally everybody in the movie was in that number. My personal fave, just because it holds such a deep place in my heart and soul, is Good Morning Baltimore. That was what we started filming with. That was the first day of shooting, was me on top of the garbage truck.
Garbage truck, yeah.
It was literally like, hey, welcome to Hairspray. And they put me on top of the garbage truck. I was like, this is the best day ever.
Best way to start that experience.
Exactly. So those are just so many amazing highlights and some of my favorite memories. The march was incredible with Queen Latifah. That was incredibly powerful, and I was honored to be a part of it. And just there were so many brilliant just moments. I remember just so many laughs that we had. We were always giggling and always laughing and always having fun. And that's what I remember about that set. We were just one big family that just loved to make each other laugh.
Yeah, and all those scenes were so impactful. And for me, Hairspray was so impactful because of all the awareness that it brings and all the love and light, while also teaching acceptance, being able to do what you love.
Yes.
And it was amazing to watch.
I think I've always said, I think that's the magic of Hairspray. It has that such important messages, but it's the deliverance of the messages that makes Hairspray so special, because the songs are so catchy and they uplift you and they make you feel something. Mark Shaman and Scott Whitman, a brilliant composer and lyricist of the music. I mean, when you sing their songs, when you listen to that soundtrack, you can't help but feel something when you listen to those songs, whether it be a song I Can Hear the Bells, or whether you listen to I Know Where I've Been and you're just bawling and crying. I mean, you feel something from all of those songs. So that's what I think Hairspray did, was we delivered those messages just in a fun way, and but reminding people that this is really important, and it's still going on today, unfortunately.
Yes, I completely agree with that. And aside from Hairspray, you are also the host of a podcast called Nikki Nights. Can you share with us a little bit about your podcast and what your mission is with the podcast?
Yeah, so I started Nikki Nights at the beginning of the quarantine, which I can't believe is a while ago now. A while is an understatement. And it was basically just to give myself something to do, talk to my friends, other people in the business, and then it just caught on, and I was doing like a few episodes a week or one a week, and I've interviewed some incredible people. I've had brilliant people on, Mindy Sterling. One of my heroes, the Olympic gold medalist, Scott Hamilton, the great figure skater. I got to interview him, and that was like one of the highlights of my life. So my mission with the podcast is it's not just about people in the entertainment business. It's not just actors, singers, dancers. It's people from all different, backgrounds and all different careers. I've had the CEO of Cameo, which is a company that I do a lot of work for. I had him on my podcast, and he talked about building Cameo and building a big company. So I have people who have all different stories to tell come on, but they're all stories of inspiration and how they got started and where they are today and where they want to go and where they see themselves going and how they see themselves pushing themselves to get there. And so that was the mission behind it. And it was also, it was something, it truly gave me, it opened up a whole new side to myself that I didn't know. I was like, I really enjoy hosting and asking people questions, because for, let's see, the past 15 years, I've been asked questions, but now I get to ask the questions. So it's been really cool. I've really enjoyed it.
It's amazing. I love your podcast, and the mission is a lot like mine here at the Inspiration Show, and you have inspired me so much. So to have you here today is truly amazing. And I know you also wrote a book about your life. So what inspired you to put your experiences into words and share it with the world?
I did write a book. I wrote it also during the quarantine. And I just felt like it was time. I felt like a lot of people thought that they knew my story or thought that they knew about me or what have you, but I really wanted people to hear it from the horse's mouth. There's no better words to say it, like from me, and so that's what I did. I wrote a book about from the beginning to now and where I want to go, and it's a memoir. It's about my life, and it's all of my stories, and all the Hairspray goodness is in there, but also all of the other stuff that people don't know. There's so much in there that people have no idea that I've experienced in my life. I touch on domestic violence that I've experienced in a previous relationship. I touch on, the passing of my uncle, which was due to suicide. So there's a lot of, it's not just light, bright, heavy, there's all things in there, and it touches on a lot of subjects. And I think it'll reach a lot of people, and it'll show a lot of people that, yes, life can be awesome, but life can also be crazy at the same time. It's just about managing it. And so I'm enjoying the writing process, and it sparked me into writing other things too. So now I'm working on a children's book.
Yay!
Yeah, I just, so it's just the more and more I create, the better I feel.
100%. I love that so much. And looking back on everything that you have achieved in this industry, what advice would you give your younger self entering the industry? Because you have inspired so many theater kids, including myself, and not just theater kids, but people everywhere. And you have taught us so many important lessons, but most importantly, it's not to let anyone stop our beat. So I'm very excited to hear your advice to your younger self.
You are so sweet. You're making me cry. My advice to my younger self would probably be just live in the moment a little bit more and enjoy that second a little bit more, because it goes so fast. Everything in life goes fast. You know, when you're in high school, you're like, oh, I can't wait to get out of high school. And then all of a sudden you're 33 and you're like, I wish I could go back to high school, you know? So there's certain things like that. So I would just tell myself, stop, smell the roses a little bit more, embrace certain experiences a little bit more, and to not be, you know, so afraid of what's to come, because you have the strength already instilled inside of you to get through the tough stuff ahead of you.
You are so incredibly inspiring. Thank you so much for joining me on the Inspiration Show. I am so inspired by you, and it was such an honor and a dream come true to speak with you.
Well, I am incredibly inspired by you, and I think it's amazing that you have the show and you're doing this for you and for other teens. And I'm just incredibly, my younger self is very thankful to you. So I wish you well, and congratulations again on graduating. And I will, who knows, see ya. Maybe we'll work together someday.
That would be a true dream come true. Thank you so much.
You will. Bye-bye.